Hello, welcome pen friends. I'm back with another video, and as all of you probably know, I'm an ink person. I'm super into fountain pen ink, but I love my pens too, and of course we got to have a pen to write with. We got to have a nib holder, we got to have a pens, and pretty much the first 2 years of me being into fountain pens again, I went hog wild with pens. And during that time, I kind of eventually I came out of that purchasing frenzy and I learned what it is that I really like. And so I want to go over 5 attributes of fountain pens that I most value. And what we'll do is I'll talk to you for a minute or two like this, and then we'll go over and look at some of my pens, including my 5 favorite pens, which are still at the top of my list all the way from January of this year. It stayed steady that they're my favorites. And there's reasons, really good reasons for that. But, you know, as to why am I doing this video, I think it's important for all of us to think about what we most love about not only ink, we talk about that quite a bit, but what do we like in a pen? Not just to avoid purchases that don't work out, but so that we can really begin to treasure the pens that we love and look for ones that are really going to make us the most happy and that we will use the most. So, you know, that may mean trading off or selling off some of the ones we have. It may mean, you know, giving them away. It may mean all kinds of things. But there's also something that I realize about that. We're dealing with 3 very heavy variables. We're dealing with the nib and feed, you know, how that pen writes. And then we're dealing with paper, which is a never-ending quest for perfect paper, right? And we're dealing with inks. So I've come to find that I have one particular ink that I like to try in any pen that I'm about to give up, you know, because it's too dry. It seems too dry, and I'll use that ink. And by golly, if it still doesn't write with that, and after I've tinkered with it, then I know I've got a problem. You know, the pen's not for me or something, you know. But it's amazing how that changes. So let me get right down to what those 5 attributes are that for me end up at the top of my list for a pen. The first one is reliability. I need to pick up the pen and it needs to write every time, and it needs to not skip, and it needs to just be ready to write with, because I write all day every day in different contexts, you know, different journals, different reasons, note taking, and, you know, logging what I eat, all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. The next one is it needs to be affordable. You know, for a while there, I had a little extra money. I went hog wild, you know. But generally speaking, I'm on an allowance, and I'm definitely on an allowance right now. So I want it to be affordable. Not only that, but I've got a couple pens that I'll show you where, you know, they cost more or they're valued higher, but they don't write better than my cheaper ones. So since I've noticed that, I'm very leery of spending too much on a pen. The next one, it needs to be a smooth writer. I really don't like a lot of feedback. And, you know, I know how to smooth nibs, but I don't really want to spend my time doing that all the time. So I really value a smooth nib right off the bat. The other one is it needs to be comfortable. Now, I don't have much problem with my fingers, really. I don't have arthritis that I know of, but I do write a lot, so I can get really bad writer's cramp. So that's something I want it to be really comfortable for long sessions. And then, you know, you're going to notice when we start looking at my pens that some of them don't have the most comfortable grip, but yet it's still there. It's still among my collection and a favorite for other reasons that are usually on this list. Then number 5 is I want to be able to swap the nibs. I want it to be versatile, like the Lamy. You know, like the Jinhaos that I have that are reliable too, because I can't put up with unreliability, you know, just to get that swappable nib. But those are my 5. And then there's 2 bonus ones. Stick around for that, because there's 2 more that I identified that aren't really at the top of my list, but they do influence me, and we'll talk about that as we get here onto the desk and look at the pens. So pardon me while I reset up. There, now we've got this ability to look at my pens, and these are the 5 that are still my very top favorite pens, the ones that I use all the time. Now, most of you who've watched my channel have seen a lot of this pen. This is the Serendipity. It's a hybrid pen with it's a dip pen, but it's got a fountain pen nib and feed, fully swappable number 6 nib. So it's one of my favorites. Now, as I was thinking about this pen, I thought, reliable. Oh yes, it's definitely reliable. Affordable, it is on the top end of what, I would pay for a pen. And because it was Australian dollars, I can't remember exactly how much it was. I'll look into that before I do the description. But I want to say it was right under $100, and that's a lot for a pen for me. Is it smooth? Yes, definitely. Totally smooth. Oh my goodness. And that, that has to do with the nib, but the feed as well, and it's just perfect. And then comfortable. It is mighty comfortable. It's got kind of a little contour there, and I have no problems with that. And the last criteria that I talked about was swappable. And yes, the nib is definitely swappable, and it's the number 6 nib. So even though this pen has one attribute that's not exactly on my ideal list, which is it's more expensive, it did turn out to be just so wonderful, and I don't regret the purchase. Then the next pen is the Lamy Vista or Safari, and I use those kind of interchangeably. I believe in my top 5 video I did have a Safari there, but of course this is my most used pen, right along with the Serendipity, because I use it for all my ink reviews. And because it's a demonstrator, I'm including it in this video, because I'll just give it away now. That's one of my bonus. That's one of the things that I notice I gravitate toward, is some sort of ink visibility or a demonstrator. And this is a full demonstrator, but I like to see the ink. So, is this reliable? This is a very reliable pen. I've not had any trouble with this. Affordable? Yes. I put anything, in that $30 range as affordable. On a pen allowance like I am right at the moment, I'd have to think about it, and I'm not going to buy every single one that comes out, but it is affordable when you consider everything else. Mine have been smooth. I've heard things from other people, but I have had nothing but good luck with this one. And it is comfortable to me. Sometimes people don't like that forced tripod grip, but I do. And then the swappable nib, that makes it that makes this pen darn near the most like a grail pen for me, really, because it's also a demonstrator and it's always available. I've given away the other bonus one. But I like it when pens are still going to be available, because being on a budget, if you can't get it when you have the money, then it either forces you into all kinds of, you start considering things that you wouldn't normally consider because you want to stay on that budget. But okay, I got to move along because I don't want this to be 100 years long. Okay, so this is the Jinhao X750, and I have, let's see, 5 of these, and I'm not upset that I do either. I just love them. This particular one has a Goulet broad nib on it, and so let's start with reliable. This pen is very reliable. I mean, I have not had any trouble with it, and I can honestly say that. I did have trouble with the X450s, but not with the 750s. And of course, I use them all the time, so maybe that's because I write with them every day. It's affordable, definitely affordable. I don't care to stay with the nib that comes on it, but even with the $14 replacement nib, you're coming in under $25 with these pens, and it's wonderful. It's very smooth. Of course, that's due to changing out the nib. Comfortable. I find this one very comfortable for me. And that's another point. Everybody's not going to have the same comfort level with every pen. But number 5 criteria, the swappable nib, makes this perfect. I use these little lobster bands the idea comes from Chris Rapp 52, and if you don't watch his channel, you probably should, because he's got tons of good videos about Chinese pens and all kinds of he's got years and years and years of experience with fountain pens. So this has been one of the neatest tricks, and he sent me some of those. That was just awesome. Okay, next up, on my top 5 pens is the Twsbi Go pen. And the one thing that this doesn't fill on my list, my checklist of 5 things, which I've got right here, and I might as well show you now because I've given away the 2 bonus things, is that you can swap the nib, but I'm not comfortable doing so. But it's reliable, it's affordable, super affordable in my opinion, being $18, I believe, last I checked. My nibs that have come on these have been very smooth. And again, if I ever got one that wasn't, I do know how to use the micro mesh to smooth it. It's super, super comfortable grip on this. You know, it's not much of a forced grip. It's just a little suggestion there, in my opinion. Okay, so this will help you make sense out of why these are my top 5. And then we'll look at some other pens. Okay, so next up is the Wonkai Moonman Mini. And I've got 3 of these. They're all inked up all the time. So this becomes very interesting in terms of competing like with the Lamy Safari and Vista. This is the Vista. But this screws to post, and then it's got that super, to me, comfortable grip. It's nice and wide. It's wider than probably anything else here. Certainly not any narrower than anything else. It's super, super reliable. I left a couple of these inked up when I went on vacation, and they started right up when I got back. Affordable? Yes, I think so. Under $20. And I have changed the nib on this one. This is a Goulet broad nib, so I put a little extra money into this one. But now that I have a few nibs, I can swap them, and I don't have to be constantly purchasing them. So I feel like that was sort of an initial investment, and now I can swap the nibs I do have among the pens I have. Like I said, it's smooth and comfortable. The nib that comes on it, I have one that I left on because it's a fine nib, and there was nothing wrong with that. It's just that they don't particularly at this time sell them with the broad, or if they do, that's been a new development. Don't quote me. But I wanted to have the broad nib on here, and I've got one with a double broad on it. So it fits everything as far as I'm concerned. It fits all of these criteria. So let's look at a few other pens. Some that are they're in my pen case and I use them all the time. But that'll open up a little bit more discussion. Let's see if I can get this down here where we can see it. You probably could see it from the other video. Whoops. Oh, my frog fell over. Okay. Probably crooked. Can't see everything perfectly, but we'll get there. Okay. So this is where I can really probably ramble, and I'll have to be careful with time. But so the Twsbis are such wonderful pens, and actually I got a Preppy in the middle of there. Let's talk about the Preppy. This is a super reliable pen, affordable, smooth for the most part, but I will admit that I actually do use just a little bit of micro mesh because I don't like even the feedback that comes with some of these, and some of them are super smooth already. And using pretty much the same ink in this pen all the time, the Noodler's Heart of Darkness, and that's a flowy ink, so I can get away with more. But it's comfortable. It's now I haven't swapped nibs on this. There's probably a way to do that, but I just haven't, and I haven't felt the need to. So it fits just about all my criteria there. It's clear and it's available all the time. So, but getting back to the Twsbis, that's the one thing that kind of slowed me down a little bit with the Twsbis, is that I know people do it. I know they do pull the nibs. You can, but I just am not comfortable swapping nibs on these. And so I love them, but I recognize that I've got to have, I've got to be happy with the nib that's on it. Now this was a broad nib, is a broad nib. Writes more like a medium. I don't know why, but my actual Twsbi Go with a broad nib is visibly broader, and it writes just much, much thicker. But that's I'm not being down on them. I love these pens, and for the most part, they are affordable. I spent more, of course, on the the Twsbi Diamond 580s, and I don't, other than the sheer beauty of this pen, I don't actually experience it as a much smoother writer. And I have found that the grip here is a little bit slippery for me, but it is the that kind of material, that metal. So more experimenting is needed. I still write with these. I have one inked up right now in my in my pen case, and it's got the Pilot Iroshizuku Murasaki Shikabu. It's a purple, and so I tend toward this one all the time. It's clear and it will go with whatever ink I'm using. But let's see, you know, at this point, not really planned what I'm going to say. I just wanted to have it in examples, all these examples. This is the Pilot Vanishing Point, which I love. But for me, this isn't the most comfortable writer. And if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't purchase this for me. I mean, I'm perfectly, it's reliable. I don't think it's really affordable. It was at the time, it was income tax money, if I remember right. It is smooth, and it is comfortable. The nib, I guess it would be swappable, but not affordable. So there's just something about this that doesn't give me a better writing experience than some of my other pens. I mean, if I feel more comfortable writing with the Jinhao X750, then that bums me out that I spent, you know, well, I could have gotten a better deal if I had not been in a rush, I guess. I paid full retail, $148 for that pen. I'm not upset about it, and I also know it could change because I'm just a newbie in the scheme of things, 3 years in fountain pens. And what I've found is the ink makes a lot of difference in these pens. And this is one, Rohr & Klinger Acacia, that I use to test, you know, and see whether it's just me or the pen or what. And so this is just the tip of the iceberg in learning, but I have learned that, like, this ink actually saved this pen and kept it in my collection. This is the Conklin Duragraphs Purple Nights with the Conklin nib on it. And I've had trouble. I haven't been able to swap the nib. It's stuck. And that's me, you know. I just can't seem to do it. But when I started using this ink, no problems anymore with this pen. I did some smoothing, nib smoothing, and that worked out okay. But it frustrates me because it's a number 6 nib. I should be able to swap it out. That's where if I went to a pen show or I had a group, a local group, probably someone would have more skill or strength or something than me. But okay, so now, you know, kind of rambling here, but so many of these pens fall under the categories that I love, you know, being reliable, affordable, smooth, comfortable, and have swappable nibs, and then some of them don't. Let's see. Okay, I want to talk about one of my miracle pens, for me anyway. This is the Wing Sung 3008, and it's best compared directly with its clear demonstrator partner here, the Twsbi Diamond 580. It's best compared to this pen, and I will be doing a review, so I'm not going to go crazy today talking about it. But this one is very reliable. You can keep these inked up for a long, long time, and it writes. It's super affordable. I do happen to have a Lamy 1.1 millimeter stub on this right now. It's smooth, but that, of course, that depends on the nib, and the nib that comes with these, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that I like the feel of the Lamy nibs better on this pen. I feel like it's a little stronger, so in that regard, I guess I just like the nib better. It's comfortable. It's very comfortable. This plastic, to me, is more comfortable than the one on the Diamond 580. So we're talking $60 here. And, you know, like something like $4 for the pen. And so we're under $20 for this whole setup here. Then the nib is swappable real easy. Now that I have several Lamy nibs, it makes it even easier. It's clear and it's available. But I have heard people talking now about a different style nib, a Pilot style nib on these, and I haven't run across that yet. But keep in mind, I slowed way down on my purchasing because I realized I had over purchased and I hadn't been paying attention to what I really liked. I had gone more by shiny object, beautiful, let's get it, you know, and so that had to stop, and it has, and so I've been doing better. Let's see, I'm sure there were more things I wanted to say. Now, I'm still working with the Jinhao 159 to determine whether, you know, I just need better ink matchups or whether I'm leaving it inked too long. I've had a few issues with these pens, but, you know, I love it. And even though it's not clear, I can look into the converter and see how things are going. I do have a Goulet stub on this one too. Let's see, this is a 1.1 millimeter stub, but I can swap them out among these, the X750s and these. But this pen, I'm just not willing to give up on yet, even though I've had some troubles. I'm not willing to give up because I know that ink and paper make a difference too. There are other videos where I've gone over everything that, you know, that I have in my collection, I think, and possibly there may be a couple pens here that are new. This is a wonderful little pen here. The one area, this is the Stipula Passaporto, and the one area where this, whoops, well, Chris, I guess it's been a while since I've used this one, where this does fall a little short for me is that the comfortable aspect, which is like number 4 on my list there. It's a little slippery, so I use it more for shorter writing sessions, but it hits everything else. Reliable, affordable, smooth. It's semi-comfortable, and I have not swapped the nib on this, but in fact, that might be something I just need to look into because I hadn't even considered it. It's got a medium nib on it, and it's very smooth. I wouldn't even need to swap the nib on that one, but it's a beautiful pen that I enjoy. Okay, this one is another one where the grip section kind of discourages me a little. Whoops, and it also screws to post. Or am I lying? No, it doesn't. It just pops on there, I guess. Okay, I haven't used this a lot recently because it's got a very uncomfortable grip. It's too small, way too small, and it's very slippery. But the pen is gorgeous. I have really enjoyed looking at it, and we'll just have to see where it goes from here. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't mean to make this a forever ramble. I did want to just, I think that's enough. You get the idea for sure that I'd spent some time thinking about the 5 things that I think are the most important, you know, for pens, especially that I'm going to purchase. But let me show you a little tray of pens that have been gifted to me. And as I tried to get them organized so that possibly I'll do reviews, and definitely I'll be trying them out, but it seems like there's not enough time in the day. So as I look at these, I begin to realize if I ink up a pen and I don't get along with it right away, I begin to see from this list, okay, you know, it's pretty clear, like if it's way too thin. Now this one, this is a rotor ring, and I'm not sure much more about it yet. I have a lot of research to do. I've only inked it up once, and it was a bomb with the ink that I used, so I've got to try again. I want to try again. But this has kind of a bumpy section, so that makes it okay, even though it is narrow. And a lot of these, I have no idea how much they cost. They were just sent to me to try out and to possibly review. I'm very close to a review on this pen here, the Keiko Retro. Can't remember if that, yeah, okay, pulls off. It's got the hooded nib, and it's got a comfortable, grip section. So as I look at these, I realize though that if a pen hits 2 or 3 of these areas that it doesn't qualify, it may be why I'm just not real enthused. But these are ones that I definitely want to try out, and kind of feel a little bad that I haven't tried them sooner. This is a cute little pen here. I didn't realize when I first got it was a fountain pen, and it was a gift too, with this tiny little hooded nib, and it's just really cute. I know nothing about these pens yet, just very little. Like the Jinhao Swan, I kind of have more idea of what to expect with that because of the shark pens. And then this is a beautiful one here. This is a Jinhao 301 with just a gorgeous finial. But as I'm looking at these, I understand better now. I understand what makes me maybe drag my feet sometimes to ink something up, or You know, and hopefully this helps you. Hopefully it will help you, especially if you're a newbie who's still, you know, buying a lot of pens. And that's fine. Like if we're within our budget, it's fine. But one day I just realized, holy cow, I just overdid it badly. And so now I'm going through things. I have actually rehomed several pens, but one, darn, I thought it was just a dry writer, but the person who got that pen from me said it was just giving her all kinds of trouble. And I thought must be they were all like that. And it was a, oh gosh, it was a clear pen, and it has the smiley face. I can't even think of what I'm trying to say. But I know very well that I felt like it was a dry writer, and it must be that's how they came, and it just wasn't going to do it for me. Anyway, hopefully this helps you. We're not all going to have the same list. For sure, it's going to be different. And maybe this gives you a little perspective on, I don't do that many pen reviews. And ink is my thing. Anyway, it's my number one thing, and I just want reliable, affordable, smooth, comfortable, swappable nib pens. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and feel free to ask any questions, because I do kind of have the sense that I motored through, and I'll probably think of 10 or 15 things I meant to say. But it's just for fun, really, and for like awareness of what are we looking for. And after a few years have passed, we begin to really know what we're looking for. So I hope you're having a great day, whatever day it might be that you're watching this. Oh, I'll just show you one more pen. I'm just delighted with this pen. And it's another of the pens that, it's the Jinhao X750 in the pink. And I'm just crazy about it. And I've got it inked up right now with the Tasha Momo, which is a bright pink, brighter than Diamine Hope pink. And it's just a Goulet medium nib that I stuck on here. It was the one that was free. And I thought, oh, it's a black nib. But it looked great with the way that the end of the pen and the finial are black on this. I thought it looked great. And I didn't plan that. So anyway, you know how it is. We get excited about our pens. So, have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.